for 2004, Mama Panama, me and the doctor, and Brow, president. Na unsi or Ghana memo ha Besia Sebi, why Oman paying doctor. Pempino, where me in Funa, why human. Na ofam dimension do. Tinyame madam, no sisi am still our patient, me and a doctor. Na me na me say afọ awo Chromo High, especially Yamban as a made to that position. I was there. Make a baby chair one. Me chair one more me do baby I made do. One who there Sebio ya my o feel there will be fine. Bre wo bribia ko school bre bi him. Oda ye chair one there. Bre wom so se bibi sia ode show support mu nsu na kade memma nsi me kwan na mo ma fa menya na ma atweado enti ma aboabua misiafo asebi wodi mu owo adwuma mu lawyers wom doctors wom hotel managers wom lecturers wom enti ye start one kan 2 weeks in yesterday. Tiaboa SHS for Bisiafono Yaboa 200 per region. In Tiaqua, anyone ya catch a one. My fame why ye do baby I ye do. In Pempino, Uncofu catch on Usiaze, ya frappa, ye day, what ya, or the woman hen. Se bibinya, only there. So a bisa one day one role models and a nipa one mentor one here or was war manoni or a brochi or ha or ha. So nipa will chroma ha, will be to wash one. No, I cade a mammy or to me, it do me. Now, as in all film, and no do baby away to tea on a area. Ya greater Accra, Yako Eastern, Yako Volta, Yako Ashanti, Yako Central, and then Yako Central. In the Nayaba Bay, a bedu handed and a fact, if you know bedu hana pay. Inti, yes, or the area wa Hunterman, Mrs. Darker, the area wa Hunterman, inti, ye beside there. One anna Sebia, assassina, a babe yard and water, one anna ye be to me, chia now, hine, no orchard in there. Nana, I am coffee. If I have it right. Na or there, you bitch him. Ain't Anna pay you do her. Na amanebo ye walk a crack. We are some Jama from Libya. Ghana Education Service. I want to choose a hand. It's a sister and OTC. There was a time like boys and girls school. Now, I brought what kind of way just only girls school. Mama can let's see. Oh, I didn't see what better way in girls school. One my young lady for if you won't put to now after school. Then I want to trip you, but what do you baby know? Only a gym or if you know more by girls' education will be the way improve. So girls' education will be the way improve has a that's what I say. They will improve it. To be frank, and to man sister, 2 years and sister.
Oklu, who is the headmistress, to welcome us into the Ahanta Non-Senior High School.
Thank you. Girls, you may sit down. Madam Dr. Invited guests, resource persons, members of staff, and ladies and gentlemen. Issues of the girl child are of tremendous importance to all educationists. For improvement in her life affects all facets of life in the society and the country at large. As was said by Dr. Kwiji Agri, if you educate a man, you educate an individual. But if you educate a woman, you educate the whole nation. In spite of the immense benefits the society and the country stand to gain from educating the girl child is confronted by a myriad of impediments, being social, economic, and political. To make it in life, she has to surmount these barriers and limitations. It is within this context that I find this program timely. The girl child needs a role model to spur her on to greater achievements. Such resource persons are pace setters who have all blazed the trail. They encounter similar challenges in their quest to achieve their goals in life. But by dint of hard work and determination, they have been able to overcome all these difficulties they encountered and have become stars of today. So I want you to listen attentively as they share their stories with us. I wish to end with a modified version of a maxim that originated from Russia. We were like you. You can become like us. That is, if you study hard and put your trust in God. On this note, I welcome you all to Ahantaman Girls Senior High School. Feel at home and have a pleasant stay. Thank you.
I shall now invite the rep for Ghana Education Service, the regional director, to come and give us a short remarks. Oh, you can do better.
And teachers, I have always looked forward to programs like this. I have been a girl child at birth. I come from the northern regions, and unfortunately, my mom didn't have a son. So discrimination against girls started at birth. And as God will have it, I was appointed District Girls Education Officer, and I moved on to be a Regional Girls Education Coordinator. And those who know me will tell that I have passion for girls' education. So this morning, I am very grateful, very, very delighted. Because in this region, we do not mostly have people who assist us to run such programs. So if somebody from Accra thought of us and has come here, then we say we are so grateful, and she deserves an applause. This is a great opportunity for you. Ask yourself, why is it that there are so many girls in the school and then you have been chosen? There's a reason for your being chosen to come for this program. Listen keenly, as Mrs. Oklu said, write down notes, go back and apply what you have been taught or what has been said here. And take your lessons seriously, and I tell you, the sky is not going to be your limit, but beyond the sky. I wish you a fruitful program. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. If you know who you are, then you're not going to be down here. I mean, we up here, we know who we are. And you say you know who you are. So don't sit down stiff, you know. We are not guys. Guys are rigid. I mean, we are girls and we are ladies. We are not rigid. Okay. I shall now invite Dr. Bettina Amabua Hininanda to come and give us a presentation on the Story of Our Lives project. Let us invite. She danced though, yeah. She danced more than everybody. I was monitoring her closely.
Good morning, Mrs. Benedicta Seidu, representative of Regional Director, Mrs. Mary Oklu, Headmistress, fellow mentors, chaperones, and girls. Before I carry on, I'd like to say a very big thank you to the Headmistress. We've been to several regions. This is one of the first regions we came to. We got out of the car. The girls came to us to take our bags. There are people here who've been to other regions as well. Very polite, good morning, you are welcome. And I was just telling the regional director's rep, Auntie Benedicta, that obviously your headmistress, you should appreciate her and you should thank her. I know that she's training you to be good and responsible individuals, not only good and responsible women, but good and responsible individuals who will benefit the larger society when you go out there. So thank you, Madam Headmistress. Menfit Foundation, who is organizing this event today, was established to fulfill a promise that I gave to myself in 2008. I think it's a blessing that His Excellency John Ejokum Kufuor, during his term of office, selected me out of 1,600 doctors in this country to serve in the capacity as his doctor. It had never been done in the history of this country where a woman at that age, I was in my 30s when I was asked to serve in this position. And initially, it was a very daunting experience. I was confused. I just had a baby. I was looking after my little girl, and I'd gotten married, but not, way before that. But I still took up the task. And I said to myself, and my family also encouraged me and said, if out of all these people in this country, this gentleman has chosen you to be his physician, and all of you know what it means to be a physician to a head of state, or a doctor to a head of state. If he doesn't sleep, you don't sleep. If he is sick, the whole world will blame you and say that why is he got a cold, why is his eyes red, he looks like he's tired, where is his doctor, where is his doctor, where is his doctor? So it was a very big task that they gave to me. However, God being so good, he saw me through the president's period of service from 2004 to 2008 is when I served. I had a predecessor who served up until about 2002 when I came in as an unofficial physician to His Excellency. But then in 2004, I was made his official physician. So when all this was over, I decided to put my experiences into a book, which we are going to give you today. Everybody is going to get a copy of this book. It's called The President's Physician. I must say it's coming to us at a very high cost. We are having to sponsor each and every, when you go to the bookshops, this book costs 35 Ghana cedis, but we are giving it to 2,000 girls countrywide. And so you do your small calculation and see how much we are spending on these books. But I believe that this book should get to as many girls as possible. It was launched in May 2014, kindly attended by His Excellency himself and his beloved wife and his children. Her Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo Agyeman Rawlings was there. Otumfuo Osei-Tutu's representatives were there. There were people from all over. We had some representatives from Nigeria. Chief Osawori Benedion sent his people from Nigeria to come and support us because they knew how important it was to put this book together to be able to impact the girl child. However, after that, I said to myself, how many people, especially people in the rural areas, the villages, will be able to have access to this book to read? So in 2015, this year, I set up the Menfit Foundation. Menfit simply means mentoring for youth development. The youth are my focus, but the girl child is more of my focus than the youth in general, because obviously I'm a female, and given the opportunity to serve like these other mentors who I have with me are serving in very high capacities. Dr. Jemima Jari, as they've already told you, is a PhD, and she's a lecturer at GIMPA. And then we have Auntie Juliet, who is coming from Uncle Gold Ashanti, and she is their legal brain there. And you can imagine, in those kinds of places, it's a men's world. So to be able to get to that position is not easy at all. And then we have Auntie Marian here from the African Regent Hotel, one of our sponsors as well. Anglo Gold was our sponsor. And she is the sales and marketing manager there. So I've picked all these high-profile women who you can relate to. What tends to happen is that when they ask you who is your mentor, then you start mentioning names of people who are abroad, people who you've never seen before, people whose dressing you like, people whose songs you like. It's okay for you to look at them and admire them. But somebody who is a mentor should be somebody whose life's experiences you can benefit from. And therefore, I believe it is time to have local mentors. We are not only mentoring you in the region of your career, because that one you get time and time again. If people are doing mentorship projects, it's because she's a doctor. She's come to tell you, I went to medical school. From there, I went abroad to do my this, and you have to get this in SHS exams, your WASI, your this. That is fine. But we are here today to tell you about the story of our lives. When you hear, hey, Dr. Anda is J. Kufuor's doctor, you're happy. It's obvious. She's successful. We tell you about the lawyers, the managers, the lecturers. They are all successful. You are happy. But how did we get to where we are today? It wasn't smooth. It wasn't easy. But the good thing about it is that we didn't give up. And that is what we are here to do. We are here to encourage you that each of us, one story or two we will tell, will let you know that we've been there. However, we didn't throw our hands in the air and say we are tired. Oh God, why me? Why me? You'll be crying, crying, crying. By the time you finish crying, the world has gone past and you are left behind. So we are here to tell you the story of our lives. So welcome to the Story of Our Lives project that you are a part of. Without you girls being here, we won't be here. We cannot be here talking to chairs and tables. We have to be here talking to people who are receptive, who want to listen, and who will take something away when they are going with them. To also tell your friends that this woman you see on television, or when they say African region, then you shout, hey, this hotel, I know the sales and marketing manager. She came to tell me what happened in her life. When they say Anglo Gold Ashanti, you are there. When they say Gimpa, you say, hey, I remember. You didn't come. This is what they told me. Auntie Jemima, when she told me her story, I was so encouraged. And you keep encouraging people. That is how the word gets around. Thank you very much. Before I take my seat, I'll also share a very short 5 minutes, maximum 10 minutes of the story of my own life, which is documented in this book. And please read the book. It's not for show. It is not to go and tell your friends and make them jealous that hey, you didn't get some of the book. Me, I've got a book. It's not to go and put in your trunk or your chop box. I don't know whether you still use trunks and chop boxes and just leave it there for cockroaches and things to feast on it. It is there for you to read and be encouraged by it. I was born into a family where my father was a physician, a pediatrician himself, looks after children, he's a doctor. My mom was a home science teacher. So the way Auntie Mercy is, encourages me because I was the daughter of a teacher. And to be the daughter of a teacher, I'm sure some of you, whose mother is a teacher here? Teachers, none of you has, raise your hands up high. I've raised my hand up. Oh, only one person. Who has a father or a mother who is a doctor? Okay, 2, 3 people. Anyway, so you can identify with me that you know my mother was Presbyterian trained. My father is a staunch Presbyterian, a Kweapin Presby. I'm not talking regular Presby. Typical a Kweapin Presby. So you can imagine the training was rigorous. It was tough. You couldn't step out of line. It wasn't possible. You had to be polite. You are talking to your elders. Nowadays, you people, when you are talking to your mother, hey, mommy, so. I brought my daughters to Ashanti region, and I was shouting at them all the time. You don't even know how to speak to your elders. You have to be respectful. My parents, you put your hands behind you, mom, pacho. It doesn't mean you are timid. It doesn't mean that you are not good enough. It is a sign of respect. So that is how I was brought up. I was the 5th of 5 children. My brothers and sisters used to send me. Oh no, I didn't like it at all. When there was not something nice, my mother would call me to the corner and give it to me. And so they would send me. If they had to pick something from this table, my brother would shout, Amma, where are you? Come and pick the thing for me. And how dare you? In my house, if somebody is even 1 year older than you or 1 month, they are still older than you. So you have to pick it and give it to them. I hated it. And my sister was very good. She was the model student. She won't do anything wrong. She will iron her dress. She will do her hair, pat it nicely. If they say don't wear this, she won't wear it. But I was the opposite. Everything they say don't do, I will do. So my mother used to cane me. And I'm sure some of you are still being caned by your mothers. They hit you. You can identify with that. I don't even know whether those canes are there anymore. My mother used to buy them specially. And I hear when you soak it in water and it absorbs the water, it becomes even more. My mother had a place she used to buy her cane. Oh, she will cane you till your back is sore. Right now, GES, they are saying, oh, don't cane. It is not good to cane. They did me a lot of good. And my mother didn't only cane us. There's something I'm going to tell you that will shock you. And I say it. And she says it openly because she's a teacher. In our day, there was something that they used to call, ube chia ubi. Do you know what chia is? Ah, good. You don't live in those you don't live in those days, but you know what it is. My mother will cane you and she'll tear you on top for punishment. I thought my mother was the most wicked woman ever. However, she was preparing me for life ahead. I knew what was right, I knew what was wrong. The good things my sister was doing, I was trying to copy her because I knew that that was the right thing. But she was trying to shape my life. Another thing she used to do, she used to send me to go and sell pies, donuts, rock bands. She was a caterer, home science teacher. So on part-time, she'll cater. In the morning, we'll fry donuts. When you come back from school, they'll do the dough. I mean, this was in Kolebu. We were okay. My father had a Benz, my mother had a Toyota. Benz, Toyota, notwithstanding. You fete the donuts, you roll, you cut, and then they'll put it in that, some wooden box bin, then it will chew. When it chew, you fry. You come back from school, you go and sell. I said, what kind of woman is this? But when I was in university, I started designing clothes. I was selling clothes. I bought my first car, which was a Tico in those days. I don't know whether you people know that car. Some small matchbox car. I bought it from Korea with my own money. What my mother was doing then, the seeds that she was planting in me then, is what bore fruits when I was in the university. After that, I went to after my primary school education, where I was selling donuts and pies. I was very bright, first, second, third, went to Achimota School. I always tell another story about Achimota School where my grades were low, things were not so good, because everybody there was bright. But I'm also going to tell you another story about Achimota School, peer pressure. When I got there, people used to give their children huge sums of money. And my parents would give you just enough. They didn't even live here, they were living in Liberia. So they'll send you the money. If the money gets finished, you're in trouble. Management, that is what they were teaching me then. And I used to get so sad. My parents are mean. This small money they've given me, then my friends who, when they go to the snack square, Bettina, come, let's buy some ice cream for you. Oh, you're not buying ice cream. My money is not even enough to buy that one pie, let alone ice cream. I'm sure a lot of you are going through that. Your friends spread money around. They buy things. Some of them could have stolen the money. But you feel inadequate. You feel like your parents are not treating you well. In the future, it shows you how to manage your resources. The same thing happened when I went to school in the United Kingdom. My mother used to send us money. My father used to send us money as well. I was in sixth form in the UK. And I started university there. I left and came back to medical school. First year, a little rough. Second year, the most difficult year. Got ill, went to write my exam, I failed. I had never failed an exam. I didn't even know what it meant to fail. Medical school, where they interviewed 300 and something people, they picked only 65 of us from that group. And then you go there, you go and fail. How possible? Everybody knew my father in Kolebu. He's a pediatrician. He's been practicing now for 53 years. At the time, he had been practicing for 30-something. Everybody knew him. Disgrace. But I said to myself, I cannot continue in this disgrace. I cannot wallow in this failure. I have to lift myself up and carry on. That's exactly what I did. At the end of the day, qualified as a doctor, worked hard. The last thing I'm going to talk about is dedication and commitment. What happened? I worked in Kolebu. Unfortunately or fortunately, I was married, I got pregnant, I had to go home for about a year, have my baby. Then I went to Rich Hospital and I said to myself, Rich Hospital, what's happening there? Me, I don't like this place. But it was the beginning of a good thing for me. When we had the stadium disaster, our mothers here would remember, it's about 10 years ago, Kotoko and Hearts went to play football in Accra, and there was a stampede, people died, people were hurt. And I was home because I'd sprained my leg. I had a problem with my ankle. There was a POP on my leg. I was a doctor there then. Went home. And then I heard that the stadium disaster, people were crying, people were breaking. I said, I have to go and help in the hospital. And my husband said, oh, please, please, please. You two, why? Everything you want to do, you want to go and help. You are sick. Let's listen to the radio and know what is going on. I said, no. So he took me there. I went to help. And as I was helping, His Excellency John Ejekum Kufuor came. That time I wasn't his doctor. and I was just in my little corner. I went to hide somewhere because, people, everybody, if the president walks in right now, you'll be standing stiff like you were standing, hey, then you want to shake his hand, you want to do this. So you can imagine the superiors in Rich Hospital, they were going, yes, Mr. President, Mr. President. Me, I was sitting in my little corner. I knew him because our parents went to Prempeh College together. When my father was in sixth form, I think he was in form 2 or something. So he had known my father since Prempeh College, and his children were my friends. But I didn't want to now go and you'll be asking questions, so I went to hide somewhere. Then as he was leaving, he looked and he said, isn't this so? I came out and he said, Ma, what are you doing here? Are you also sick? Are you a patient? Because I had POP, and people had POP on their hand, the cut on their face. So he said, did I also go to the stadium? I said, no. And he said, so what are you doing here? I said, I work here, I'm a doctor. He said, well done. With this your leg and you come, you are helping, that is very good. Obviously, it must have registered somewhere in his mind. And he said to me, come and visit. You haven't been to the house in a long time. I said, Mr. President, now, when you come there, it's not like before. Before, you can come and, you walk through the door. Right now, they'll search you and take all your phones and all of that. He said, oh, come, make sure you come. Long and short of the story is, when his daughter went on leave, he picked me to come and serve in the capacity as his doctor. Dedication, commitment. If you are given any role, whether it's head girl, cupboard monitor, dormitory, whatever, any role you are given, let it be your opportunity to shine. Don't think that, as for this, somebody's a head girl, me, they only gave me dining hall prefect. How do you know? Hey, I was going to run, no. You people would have followed me. How do you know whether that is your opportunity to shine? So the long and short of it is that this is the story of my life. And I'm hoping that it will encourage somebody. If you are selling, when you go on holidays, your mother has a shop. You people are lucky now, even they have shops. If your mother doesn't have a shop, and she puts a pan on your head to go and sell, don't think that she's demeaning you. Don't think your mother is a charcoal seller, whatever she does. If she wants you to be a part of what she's doing, do it to the best of your ability because it's preparing you for the future. You fail an exam, don't just sit back and say that I can't do it, I want to drop out of school and all of that. And whatever you are given to do it to the best of your ability and serve with absolute dedication and commitment. Thank you very much.
Story of your life so far.
Madam Headmistress, the representative of the Regional Education Director, my fellow mentors and students gathered here. Thank you very much for having me. I always say to Dr. Anda that I feel on this tour that I'm learning more perhaps than the people I'm speaking to, because by sharing my story, I've come to, because you need to reflect, go back and think about all the things that you've been through as a child, all the challenges that you've been through growing up, and then find out the lessons that you've learned from those challenges to be able to share them. So I have learned a lot about myself and about my journey to this point. So thank you for that opportunity. Thank you, Dr. Anda. Okay. As Dr. Anda has said throughout our journey through the other regions, our successes are apparent. As I stand here, as Dr. Anda says, I'm the sales and marketing manager at the African Region Hotel, which means, I don't have to come and tell you all the nice things that I've done, how brilliant I was as a child. There are lots of us here who are brilliant already, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you end up at your fullest potential. So today I'll just touch on a few points, a few challenges that I feel that I went through, and in spite of those challenges, I've been able to make it to this point. So bear with me. I just hope that as I speak, there'll be people here who can identify with those challenges and learn something from those challenges. First of all, I would like to say that I come from a polygamous home. I don't know if any of you have that problem. I didn't see it as a problem. At the end of the day, I mean, I was born into it, so it was normal. I have 3 mothers, and we call all of them mom, so it was fine. And we grew up all together, all the siblings. We didn't even call them half siblings or step siblings or anything like that. But the challenge began when, during my adolescent years, around class 6, my grandmom fell ill, so my mom had to go to the village to look after my grandmom. She was actually there throughout my JSS years. So basically, my adolescent years were spent with my stepmom. I know there are lots of Ghanaian children who live with stepmoms. And there are lots of things that you experience living with your stepmom, and you think that you are disadvantaged somehow. But most of the things that you experience are things that would help you later in life, because you become more resilient, and you're not too reliant on other people. As living with my stepmom, I didn't feel like I had enough attention. I felt like I did my quota of the housework was more than the others. I felt like I had nobody to talk to. In fact, when I was in JSS, a neighbor, I went home to my mother's house, and one of our neighbors then, one old woman called Auntie Baby, she called me and spoke to me about body odor and how to keep yourself and how to prevent yourself from smelling. Because as you see, I'm a big person, and I've been big from childhood. So growing up, you start sweating and you start smelling, and you don't know what to do. You bath morning, you bath evening, you go to school. Senora, don't let your cousins, Senora, keep on learning hard.
Thank God. Do not throw away your confidence. When you throw away your confidence, definitely everybody or anybody, just anybody can turn you around. I shall now invite Mrs. Juliet Mantiao Kutimenta to come and tell us the story of her life. I'm sure she has something very to tell us too.
Thank you very much, Grace. Madam Headmistress, the representative of the Regional Director of Education, fellow mentors, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is actually Juliet Mantia Okutin. I don't know where Grace got the Mensa from, even though it's one of my names. But it's one of my names, but I don't use it. I don't know how she got it. Anyway. Yes, you've been told that I'm the head of legal of Anglo Gold Ashanti, Ghana Limited. But it didn't start from there. It's been a long journey. I was born in Cape Coast, and I lived in Cape Coast. My mother was a midwife, and my dad was a building contractor. I could be a first or a second born or a third born or a fourth born, depending on how you are counting and where you're coming from. My mom had 2 children before coming into the marriage, and my dad had 1 child before coming into the marriage. So I'm the first of the union, and I have 2 younger siblings, so in all we are 6. It was a happy family, it was a simple family. It wasn't, or at least that's what I thought. I was a happy child growing up. And I went to University Primary Cape Coast, and then to Holy Child School. I was ordinarily a very brilliant child, so I didn't really have that much challenges in school. But I wouldn't say I was a pretty child growing up, I wasn't. But I was very bright, so I could get a lot of things done, and I could get away with a lot of things. But when I went to Holy Child, it was an eye-opener. The first time I realized, some of my mates said their parents came to Holy Child. and their moms came to Holy Child, and their dads went to Infantipim and Augustine's. And I'd actually grown up thinking that our parents, at the time they were born, there were no schools like Holy Child, so that's how come my parents didn't go. I never even realized at the point that my parents were poor. That's why they couldn't go to school. It was for the first time that I had realized that people like my parents actually went to Holy Child and Augustine's. So I kind of thought, okay, my children have to say my mother went to Holy Child. So I said I was going to go through Holy Child, and I was going to finish through sixth form. We did the old system, so Form 1, 2, and I mean, you were in Form 1, there were 7 classes ahead of you. But I said I was going to do this because my children have to say that their mother went to Holy Child. So that was my motivation. I was naturally bright, but then I studied hard. And I realized quite quickly that I really didn't have to put in a lot of effort to do very well. I'd come from Cape Coast. There were a lot of schools, people from Christ the King, very bright, but I was very competitive, so I was doing very well in school. I read sciences for O levels, but at some point, I think I just started slacking or becoming complacent. So even though I was supposed to be a distinction student, I had a grade 1, which was in 16, because I'd slacked. Sixth form, I stopped and I read arts because geography, literature came naturally to me, really. I was quite a lazy student. I didn't want to put in too much effort, but literature was very easy. Geography came very easy to me. So I did geography, economics, and literature for sixth form. And I did very well. And I went to the university. At the university, I also experienced something for the first time. There was freedom. For the first time, you didn't have your teachers, you didn't have a bell waking you up. You didn't have your teachers telling you what to do. And those times, I had blown the A-levels. So I'd gone to the university thinking, even with external exams, I was doing so well with these teachers who are going to mark my own exams. Really, I can't fail. So joined the fun. University, there's pressure. There's peer pressure. Joined the fun. For the first time, I was pressured, or actually thought, okay, I'd found a new boyfriend who was a master's student. So I was all excited. It was a bit confusing, the field. I couldn't really manage my time. I did my first exams, and for the first time in my life, I was making C's and D's. My first year grade point was 2.86, and that was the second lower. I was close to a third class. I was like, no, this cannot happen. I can't even go home and tell my parents that this is what I'm graduating from. You know, so that was my first year, first semester. I said I was going to make my grades. So from first year, second semester, I pushed and pushed and pushed. And every semester, I had higher grades. My final grade point was 3.5, which was just 0.1 from a first class. But the lesson here is that it is very easy when you sometimes you don't even appreciate what your teachers do for you whilst you're in school because of the controls they give you. And when you find yourself in a free place, you might just forget your discipline and everything and just throw it away. And it happened to me. Some people never recover. Because it wasn't an easy task to move from a 2.8 grade point to a 3.5 grade point. It took a lot of discipline. And fortunately for me, my boyfriend at the time was also an academic. And when I got my first result, he was like, you are not going to go out with me if you're going to have these grades. You know, it was like, you can't hang with me if you're going to have these grades. You have to work harder. You know, so that also pushed me. You know, and that also comes to the choice of friends that you make. Because all my friends were very competitive, and we used to share our results, and we used to push each other and say, no, you cannot graduate with these grades. You need to and so all my core friends also did very well. I mean, some are doctors, and in all other, my friends from Holy Child, they've been my friends forever. And we're all very successful in our professions, but it was also because I chose my friends very well, and then we pushed each other. I had some friends who were bad, but I wouldn't count them my friends. We were in school together, you know. But the people I shared my thoughts with were people that I thought could move me upwards, and not people just for friendship's sake or just because they are popular or because they are the prettiest girl or the richest girl. I mean, it's very important how you choose your friends. Another aspect of my life that I would want to share with you is that I grew up in 2 homes. When I was 10, I moved out, well, actually went on holidays to my father's business partner's house. We were he had a daughter who was my age mate, and we're in the same class. And he had 4 daughters. So I went there, and I was more comfortable there because I had age mates and they were all girls. I'd come from a mixed home, like I said, and my sister and I was an only girl for my father. I have a sister, and we never really got along. She was 10 years older, and we never really got along. So when I went to this house, it was a nice break for me, and I liked it. So I told my parents that I'm not coming back. And I just stayed in this house. But there are a lot of things that happened that molded me. First of all, it was the time of the born again movement. So this was in the 80s, the charismatic wave, you know. So this family had just found Christ. So I was thrown into this, and I liked it. I took my Christian life very seriously from that time. And because of that, there was even when I got curious about things, because of the training they had given me, because I was 10 at that time, I wouldn't do it. I remember when my first boyfriend, when I was 16, tried to kiss me. I said no, and he was shocked. And he said, why? And I said, because I'm only 16. I don't think I should be kissing any boy at this age, you know. And I was curious, but I just think, no, I'm 16. I can't be kissing you. And, well, he's still my friend, but he respected me from that point on, you know. And, I mean, it's been so many years. We're still friends. We still, you know. But that was the kind of training I got. This was quite different from my house. My mom was a nurse. I mean, she worked all week. So it wasn't like she could take us to church every Sunday. Most Sundays, she was at work. And actually, until I lived in this other house, I didn't realize that mothers could be at home on weekends. It was a revelation when I went there, and the Saturday, Sunday, my auntie was at home. I was like, oh, okay, so that's how it is. I didn't realize that. Okay, so it was good. And my auntie was also very disciplined in her spending, which was a sharp contrast to my mom, who I had observed buying things on credit. My mom just loves to buy things on credit. Even if she's holding 1 million CDs, she would rather say, go and come back for your money. You know? But that was my mom. And even though I was a child, I didn't really like it. I mean, when at the end of the month, people came in and were coming for their money, it just was something I didn't like. And I appreciated having this other woman in my life who showed that you could actually be disciplined financially. And to date, I mean, I still don't like debt. I'll only take a debt if it's for an investment, and it'll give me a return higher than what I'm paying for the debt. And I manage my money. My husband will tell you, he'll give me all his money, and he knows it is safe. Because I learned that discipline from this other mother that I lived with. Another thing was that their children, who were also girls, they had gone to Holy Child. And actually, if I hadn't lived there, I probably would not have gone to Holy Child. Because this other woman, it was the time when the JSS system was being introduced. And this other woman thought, no, she won't let her children go through this JSS system when she doesn't even know what it's going to be like. And because I lived there and I was going to school with them, we were all in the same school, she registered us for common entrance. And then my father, my second father, also managed to get us to Holy Child. So probably without them, I wouldn't have gone to Holy Child. And living there, I had role models because we had older siblings who had gone through Holy Child and went to the university. And I remember my dad, I used to see my dad all the time, so really, it wasn't like I had moved out completely we were all still in Cape Coast. And my father worked together with him, so I used to see him almost every day. So I wasn't really out of my house. But I remember my dad telling me that you've seen these two ladies who have gone through university. You also have two brothers who have gone through university. It means you can also go through it. Don't begin to think that you are inferior to these people. And I remember so well that advice that he said it casually, but I never forgot. I don't even think that my father remembers telling me this. But because of those role models, and like I said, my sister the two of us never really got along. And she wasn't such a role model to me. So these people gave me the example to live up to. And it helped me. Because I always had it at the back of my mind. And even after I had moved out of the house, when I moved back, I've been told that my time is almost up. But when I moved back to my parents' home, I began appreciating all the experiences that I'd gone through. And, well, if I had a lot more time, I would have told you a few other things. But these experiences mold you. What I want to leave with you is that when you go through something, just try and make the best out of it. Situations don't last forever. So anytime you're going through something and you think it is tough, you think it is hard, why me? Just tell yourself it is going to end and push through. And just keep pushing through, and you will look back someday and you realize that it wasn't too bad after all. And really, if it hadn't been for that, I wouldn't have appreciated life as much as I appreciate it now. This is what I'll say. I really hope that I've been able to impact you one way or the other. But when you leave here, like I said, just remember that situations don't last forever. It will change, no matter how long it takes. Just push through. Just keep pushing through, and things will change, always for the better. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Auntie Juliet. I picked three things from her talk. Hey, they are saying it, but I don't hear you people say it. You don't know. Okay, I think when life gives you lemon, you make sweet lemonade out of it. I add sweet to it, because the lemonade may be bitter. Okay. I shall now call upon Dr. Jemima Lulu to come and give us a talk on confidence. She's come to put us how to be confident.
Good morning. How are you keeping? How are you? Are you well? Good. I hope you're not sleeping. Okay. So, all protocols observed. I'm here this morning to talk to you about confidence. How many people would say that they are confident? Raise your hand. Okay. Quite a lot of you are confident. That makes me happy. But confidence isn't something that everybody is born with. Yes? And confidence means that you believe in yourself and what you can do, in your abilities. And when you look at me, do you think I'm confident? Yes. You think I'm confident? Do you think I was born like this? It's true, I wasn't born like this at all. When I was young, when I was very young, when I was a child, anywhere you take me, I'd go and I'd talk. I used to learn how to do dancing. So even if my mommy and daddy, if they took me shopping, I'd start dancing in the aisles, singing, doing everything. I was so confident. That's when I was around about 5, 6, before I was a teenager. But when I got to a teenager, when I was about your age, in secondary school, all of a sudden, I lost my confidence. I used to look at the mirror, and I used to look at my body. And you know, at your age, you know, things are growing. Your boobs are growing, your bum's growing, your hips, you've got a lump here, you've got round here, and I felt very uncomfortable with it. And so I'd wear clothes that didn't show my body because I didn't only think my body was ugly, I thought I was ugly. So I'd look in the mirror, and then no matter what I did, all I saw looking back at me was, I used to refer to myself as a whale. I thought I looked like a whale. You know what a whale is? Yes. That's what I thought. I looked like a whale. So to try and hide how I looked, I used to wear big clothes, not what I'm wearing like this. Firstly, I never wore dresses. If no matter how much my mommy would beg, I didn't want to show my legs, so dresses were out. And I'd only wear jeans, but not the jeans that everybody wears now, the skinny jeans, no way. They had to be the big ones, the big ones, so everything had to be very loose. And because I wanted to cover my body, and luckily then I was living in the UK, so it got cold. So that was good for me, because then I could wear like a vest, then I'd wear a t-shirt, then you wear a jumper, and then I'll wear a coat on top of my body. But it wasn't just because I was cold. It was because I was ashamed of my body. I didn't want anybody to see it. And also, to add to this, I only wore dark colors. I'd either wear black, or maybe gray, or if you're lucky, brown. So my wardrobe was very, very, very dark. And I used to lie and say, oh yeah, you know, you can never go wrong with black. But really it's because I heard that when you wear black, it makes you look slim. So that's why I used to wear it. So anyway, my mom was worried. She'd be like, why, what's wrong? And I'd be like, oh, you don't know any fashion. This is what's in fashion now. It wasn't any fashion. I made up my own fashion. It wasn't to do with fashion. It was to do with that I didn't like my body. And obviously mothers know. Mothers know these things. So I was on a trip and I came to Ghana. And I went to see my grandma. And can you imagine, that time I used to go and visit Gran. And my grandma was she's down to earth, no nonsense. If she sees it, she says it. So I went to visit her in her house, and she was looking at me saying, what's wrong, my grandchild, what's wrong? I came to Ghana, I had my usual trousers, top, then I wore a jacket on top, and in Ghana heat. So Gran said, why, what's wrong? And I said, oh, Gran, the way my body is, I don't like it. My bum is too round, and then my hips go too wide, and then my grandma looked at me and shook her head. And she would take that jacket off. Do you know how many people want your kind of body? Do you know how many people would love to look like you? So just stop the nonsense and take it off. So I took it off, but I was still, you know that thing you do when you take it off, and I was still, wriggling and riling. But it spoke to me, and I realized I've changed. Before me, that even at the drop of a hat, I'll be dancing and singing and doing everything. My confidence had gone. I had no belief in myself. I thought I was ugly, I thought I was horrible. So after my grandma sowed that seed, I also stood up I began to work on myself. I actually, not long afterwards, I wore a dress. And that was a breakthrough. Because before, no dresses were coming on my body, even though I did wear a t-shirt under the dress though. But still, it was a step. And you know what? When I wore the dress, I thought, oh, you know, my young legs are not so bad. Or, you know, it's not so bad that I've got curves and things in places. And then I started to build up my confidence. You see, the thing is, people can tell you so many things. All the time that I thought I was ugly, you think people didn't tell me I was beautiful? They did. But I didn't believe it. So with confidence, it's something that you alone have to work on. Others can support you, yes? But you have to believe in yourself. Every individual here, every girl here is beautiful. Every girl here is fearfully and wonderfully made. Every girl here is the apple of God's eye. Yes? Beautifully handcrafted. So, what I'm trying to say is that with your confidence, you have to believe in what you can do, in your abilities, in what God has given you. Maybe yours isn't singing and dancing, but maybe you are very good, you're very intelligent. When I was in school, I was intelligent, but I also talked a lot. They always used, oh, Jemima is talkative, Jemima talks, so she can talk for the whole of England. Yes, but I'm confident in my talking, because if I wasn't confident in my talking, I wouldn't be speaking to you today. My job means that I'm a lecturer. I talk for a living. People pay me to talk. People pay me to do what I love. So it doesn't matter. You know, some people, I know, I have friends, every time they're touching your hair, they're combing it for you, they're plaiting it for you, and they just love it. They've got a talent for beautifying people, yes? Be confident in it. And it's not just good enough being confident in it. Add effort and hard work. Yes, I'm good at talking, but I'm good at talking because I read. Before I come up, I read. I know what I'm going to talk about. Otherwise, if I don't know what I'm talking about, I might as well just be talking to the air. Nobody will listen. So whatever you're good at, be confident in and add hard work and effort to it. See, I told you I like talking, now I've run out of time. So all I want to say is I wish you all the best. Be confident in yourself, in your abilities, and what God has graciously blessed you with. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, Auntie Jemima. Thank you very much.
Having had enough of all that fun, I believe from the stories heard from our mentors, you have really learned something from it, and it has really impacted upon your life. All right, we couldn't have just done it without having a short talk on adolescent health. And I believe that you all know that as an adolescent, it's the period between, childhood and adulthood. And as you are all adolescents in here. At this stage, I believe that is the time most of you, go through a lot of problems. You have, changes going on around you. You start developing breasts, hair under your armpits, your pubic areas. You have widening of the hips and all that and a whole lot. And above all, you start having your menstruation, which is very, very important. The flow of blood from the womb through your vagina. And with this, when it starts happening, you really need to keep a very good personal hygiene. And when I mean hygiene, I mean, you know, when you have your periods, you use the sanitary pad, you bath twice a day, you know, changing your pad, you need to wash your hands before and after. You don't just take your pad and you go to the washroom, just leave it lying there, just like that. You wrap it nicely, get a dustbin and put it inside. And as I've said, using of sanitary pads, wrapping it nicely and putting it in a bin, washing of hands, these are all very necessary. And when you actually start menstruating, and you know, go in, have a relationship, you start having sexual intercourse with your opposite partner, you stand a chance of actually getting pregnant. If you don't get pregnant, there are other diseases, sexually transmitted infections that you can actually get. Even for the first time, a boy can just give you, you know, something, sexually transmitted infection, because as he has it, it's not written on his face, he wouldn't see it, unless maybe you go in for an unprotected sex with that guy. That is when you stand a chance of having. And some of these infections can be, you know, gonorrhea, we have chlamydia, we have syphilis, and above all, we have the HIV and AIDS, which is very real. It's not that we are just talking about AIDS, is very real. Adolescents like you stand a chance of having the HIV. When you come to the hospitals, a lot of people at your age do have HIV. And as of now, there is no cure for HIV. But then there are drugs that can, you know, you'll be taking to maintain you for some time. So please be careful about these things. Okay. Sometimes, at this stage, we start having, you know, sexual feelings, sometimes for our own selves. When you go to the schools that, like, you have same-sex, like the girls who some turn out to be lesbians and all that. It is all, you know, hormonal feelings at this stage as a growing adolescent. That is why you start feeling these things. And it's all normal. And I would like to urge you all that when that's happening, you know, take control of yourself. As we've listened to our story, the stories of our mentors, life is how you make it, and you plan towards it. You can't just be at one place and say, I want to be a doctor and that's it, but, you know, getting bad grades and all. You need to really work hard at it. And, you know, don't waste your time on these feelings that may come, cross your path and all that. And also at this stage, we start having a lot of us, you know, we start having, you know, candidiasis and all that. It all depends on how you keep yourself, how neat you keep yourself. Talking about personal hygiene, some go to the toilet, they use the washroom and all that. Cleaning themselves, sometimes they clean from the back to the front, which is very bad. They can also give you an infection. If you finish, you know, using the washroom and all that, if you want to clean, you clean from the front to the back to prevent infection actually getting into your vagina. And sometimes too, people get white and they tend to use a lot of things. You know, by the roadside, you get a lot of people selling, you know, medicine. A friend will just say, oh, I use this, I bought it by the roadside and it worked for me. I'm please urging you that if you have what we call candidiasis on the white, please see a doctor so that they'll give you the correct medicine to use, okay? And sometimes too, when we, you know, bath, we wash our panties, we don't really like hanging our pants out in the sun. Some will hang it in the dormitories, they'll put their sponge and towels on it. When it doesn't get dried well, that sometimes we have this mold, you know, if there is something in it that will cause the infection, it wouldn't all die. But then when you dry it in the sun, we have something from the sun called the UV rays. It kills some of those organisms that are liable to cause, you know, some of these whites. So please, if you finish bathing, you wash your pants, dry them in the sun. If you're not able to dry them in the sun and you want to wear, just get some, you know, iron to iron the under parts, and also try as much as possible to, you know, be wearing cotton panties. Sometimes some of these nylon panties, they don't really absorb sweat and all that. They give heat. So try as much as possible and wear cotton panties. And also avoid wearing very tight panties. Very tight panties will also not make you know, get to that place. And also, above all, I would want to talk about more on the sexually transmitted infections. I forgot to add one thing. There's something we call HPV, or the full name is human papilloma virus. It can also be gotten through an unprotected sex with the guy opposite sex. When he has it and you have sex with him, he can be with you for so many years without showing up any sign or symptom. By the time it will start showing up, you can also get something we call cervical cancer. Cervical cancer is a cancer that affects the tip of the womb, which affects many women. And surprisingly, that people don't see it early. By the time you see it, then it means that the cancer has already, spread to your other organs and nothing can be done. But when it is detected early, there can be some help for you. Okay, now I want us to talk about abstinence. Abstinence, is not choosing to engage in any sexual relationship until you get married. And as adolescents, as we are now in school, I would like you to focus on your books more rather than engaging yourself in these relationships that wouldn't help you. As Auntie said, choose your friends wisely. Sometimes you go to school, you choose friends who are all in relationships, they are having sex and doing all sorts of things. Definitely, as you are with them, they'll also, try to lure you into doing those things, going for a boyfriend, start having sex and all that. And later you get yourself into trouble. Sometimes when you get pregnant, it doesn't come so easily. It comes with a whole lot of complications because as you are growing, the bones of your waist that is supposed to support the pregnancy for 36 weeks and above, beyond 40 weeks, it's not so strong. So sometimes, it comes with a whole lot of challenges. As an adolescent, you are pregnant, childbirth and all that. It comes with a whole lot of complications. But then when you grow, even the adults, when they are pregnant, go through a lot of challenges. So please, focus on your books and, stop watching pornographic things. Sometimes people wear short things, exposing their breasts. The boys also get tempted into it. So definitely, if you are somewhere alone with that guy, he will start touching you. By the time you realize, it's ended up into something that you really didn't plan for. So please, stick to your books and, focus on your studies. Whatever you want to be in future, I think with determination and effort, you will be able to get there. Okay, so the message is, it pays actually to wait. To abstain will really, really help you. And I believe that as growing adults, people will start giving you gifts, giving you money and all that. Sometimes they don't do these things for free. They will actually want to do something with it. That is why they are showering you with gifts and money and all that. So please, as we are in school now, let's focus on our studies. Keep ourselves well. When you grow and you marry, as for the sex, you have it, anytime you want to have it. But now, as we are in school, sometimes, you get into things and relationships that will, make you maybe make a mistake of having the sex. If you are here and you start having sex, I'm begging you that you should please stop. Just tell yourself that as I've had maybe situations, pertaining to me having the sex wasn't so good. Tell yourself that you're not going to have sex again. Focus on your books to avoid these pregnancy and STIs. Just learn and, avoid yourself from getting into these troubles. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mama. We are very fortunate to have a medical doctor in our midst. So we would invite Dr. Bettina Maboro-Hinanda to come and also add her words to what Auntie Abigail has given us.
Oh, you didn't welcome her.
Yes, Abigail has said most of the things. She mentioned white. It's one of our biggest problems. She has told you how to take care of yourself. Some of you are not sexually active. A lot of you are not, I hope. But you get white. White is caused by what we call a fungus. The fungus is a candida fungus. And what happens is that we have it on our hands, we have it on toilet seats, we have it in water, it's around. And once you are infected with it, it has what we call spores. They are like seeds. Because that's how the fungus grows. When there's bread and you see that fungus that grows on it, that's what white is. It's similar to that. So when you wash your underwear and you don't hang it out in the sun has ultraviolet light. So it's able to kill some of the spores of the fungus. So those of you who hang your underwear inside, it will dry, but it will not get the added benefit of the heat and the ultraviolet light to be able to do what it's supposed to do. So some of you, you have a wet towel, you hang your pants under your towel, and I always laugh at my daughters. I said, if you are not proud enough to hang your pants out, that means, say, I think. Because what happens is that, or it's torn, and you've just did somewhere, and then your friend will say, hey, Benedicta, so this your pants there. So you hang it under your towel, you hide it. And then what happens is that the spores still stay in it. So you go to the hospital, you are treated. They give you a cream, and as she said, I beg you, I don't want to mention any particular creams, but me, I know the creams people have been using off the streets. They just go and they buy it and they say it's good. You have to do this, that. We beg you. It's not cream for that kind of thing. We are very specific. Antifungal cream is antifungal cream. It cures fungus infections. You take certain creams and it can cure skin disease, it can cure baldness, it can make you fair, it can do this, it can do this. You are just harming yourself because we don't know some of the active ingredients in those creams, and they will destroy certain things that you are not even aware of. In the future, you may have problems. I'm sure she talked about repeated infections. And we don't only have the fungal infection. There's one that the discharge is not like the one that we have that we call white. The reason we call it white in Ghana because the discharge is white. So you see it as a cream or white discharge. It itches. It's not even so offensive. But there are some that are very offensive. And those ones, we call them bacterial vaginosis. It's caused by bacteria. Cleanliness, the way you take care of yourself. As she said, I think she mentioned it, your vagina, it takes care of itself. You don't have to wash inside, outside, side and side. Where your hand can reach is where you wash. Okay? So those of you who are in the habit of, and our mothers, some of our mothers are the ones who cause these problems for us. You go home and your mother tells you, hi, you be about, almost say, a pa count, or bad dear, so who ye say, fashion, you tell them that, man, maybe you should insult you, and as her school, Yamakwe cry, a bremo, the mufusemunim dodo. But when she gives you, don't wash inside the vagina. What you do is you take away the soldiers in the vagina that protect you. There are some bacteria, colonizing bacteria, that are in there. And once they are there, the fungus can't grow there. Once they are there, the infective bacteria cannot come there. So when you make the place so clean by washing the inside, then all these other infections from your hands, from your underwear, and all of that have an opportunity to go there and create problems for you. Okay? And don't keep these infections for weeks and months. If you are having an offensive discharge, 1 week, a few days, it's not going, please tell your mother or your house mistress or whatever, not the white. As for the white, I've told you what to do. Bit of Dettol, hot water, wash your underwear, put it in the sun. You have an iron the gussets, the under part of the underwear. And as she has said, avoid nylon pants. They look nice, but it's not about that. It is about what is practical and what will not let you have the white. Another thing is these G-strings. A lot of you know about it. They say when you wear it, you can't see the line of your panty line and all of that. And on occasion, you are going out. It's a stretchy dress. You don't want it. People say don't wear it at all. Trust me. If it's something that you wear occasionally, it won't create any problems for you. But if all your 10 pants in your wardrobe are G-string, please, there's a problem. Because of the way it is. It goes under your gusset and then it goes into your bum. And you know that the bum, what comes out of there, is not clean. And so what happens is that you get bacteria on there, you wash, not all the bacteria go, and when you wear it again, then the bacteria go from there into the vagina and create problems for you. That is why the G-string is a problem. Okay? The last thing I want to talk about is pornography. Only certain people like me will be brave enough to stand in front of you and talk to you about these things. A lot of our mothers, our teachers are too embarrassed to talk about it. But it is a big canker in our society. With the current dispensation of ICT, your mother can be at home with you, you have a laptop or you have a computer at home you all use, they can block all those sites, all those pornographic sites. However, on your phone, your mother can't collect your phone and block it. In fact, I won't even know how to block it on your phone. So what they do is that if it's blocked on the school site, because all the school computers, if they have them, are blocked. You can't go on pornographic sites. But when you go home, again, peer pressure. The boys, and even some of the girls, they will tell you, my daughter is your age, my daughter is 15. And, you know, she went to school in a boarding school in Kumasi for a couple of years. And then one time she came home to me and she said, Mommy, and that's another thing, build a good relationship with your parents. If your mothers are a little stiff, they are not relaxed, build a good relationship with a teacher who you can confide in, or somebody who is older than you who can give you good advice. What I suggest you do is that you get some people who give you bad advice. You there, why aren't you doing this? Have you seen this thing? And then the phones taking pictures, nude pictures. My second daughter is 10. And she showed me a friend of hers who went to a swimming pool. And she thought she was showing her friends her new swimming costume. But that picture that she took, the swimming costume, the bra was too small. So you could see part of her breasts. And then she took that picture because her sister too was taking pictures. Sometimes it's out of ignorance. Sometimes it's because you want to belong. Sometimes it's because that boy has told you that, oh, you are beautiful. So you take a picture and send it to me. He will use it for his DP. He will send it to another 10 of his friends who will in turn send it to other friends. And the next thing you know, you can't even come out. So please, don't be deceived into those things. The pornographic things that you people watch, and I know a lot of you here, I'm sure 80% of you know what I'm talking about. They are not real. The real world out there, if that is what sex was like, people will be running helter-skelter to go for it. It is not real. And it is not what you should feast your eyes on. If you are feasting your eyes on something, and somebody is coming and you have to run and hide, then you know that it is sin. And you are not ready for that at all. It just distracts you. And the church, when you go to church, they will tell you anything that is pornographic material just takes you away from the things you should be doing and deviates your attention from the Word of God. Because there's nowhere in the Bible that says that watch movies about sex and it will enhance your Christian life. I don't know about that part in the Bible. I don't know whether you have heard anything like that. You are still children. If the adults want to do it, so be it. Let them go ahead. But you are not at that stage where you should be engaging yourself in this. First, you will watch. The second thing, you will practice. Or you say, oh, we are just trying. You try, the next time it becomes a habit. So please, she talked about secondary virgins. Some of you have been sexually abused. Some of you have caught yourself in a situation where it just happened. Nobody is saying that you are dirty, you are unclean. Media can never stop this thing. I can't move on. Everything you want to stop, it starts with the brain. You have to start training your mind that yes, I did it. Yes, there was a situation where it happened. Yes, my mother gave me up for early marriage or gave me up to a man to be with. And therefore, he raped me, he sexually abused me, he did this. But I am saying to myself, from what I've heard in a hunter man, that I will not engage in this thing anymore. When the time comes, my mother always said, they'll be chasing you for it and you'll be running away. Because when you're in a marriage, your husband has brought the drinks, he doesn't own you. But sexual intercourse is part of marriage. But it gets to a point where your mothers will be giving excuses. Oh, now me call market cry my bread, and then you see them confusion in the house. That means that it is something that will come to you easily. But this is not the time for it. So please, listen to us, take something out of what we have said, and also spread it to your friends. When we left, for the last thing I'll say, we left Central Region yesterday. A girl came to me and she said, "Mommy, I feel so sad." I said, "Why?" And she said, "My friends tell me that I don't have a boyfriend and it's abnormal, it's not normal." And I said, "It is very normal." And she's always first, second, third in her class. She's in SS2. And she said to me, so now I don't know, maybe I'll just take one so that, because they are always laughing at me. I said, "Tell them that you have a problem, I don't. Me, I know where I'm going. And I know the path that I have charted for myself. If your path is the path of unrighteousness and boyfriends and stuff, go down that path. I know where I'm going, I know where I want to be. At the appropriate time, I will have that boyfriend. And even if you have, there's nothing wrong. I think I had 2 girlfriends when I was in school. All my friends were boys because they'll teach me how to learn. They'll sit with you when you are learning. They don't gossip. If the audio dress you are wearing is not nice, they'll tell you, Bettina, this your dress, somewhere. The girls, that dress, and gossiping. So me, I didn't have, girls as my friends. I'm not saying don't go and have girls as your friend, I beg you. Don't quote me. The point I'm making is that there's nothing wrong with having a boy who's your friend, several. But you have to know where to draw the line. Auntie said, when at 16, the boy told her, "Come and kiss me." Say, "Hey, I haven't reached there yet." A kiss seems like nothing. It will lead to a touch. A touch will lead to, "Oh, let me hold your breast." And the next thing you know, you have regretted it. You've gone too far and you feel like you can't come back. So thank you very much for your attention. And I hope by the time you leave here, you would have learned something from what I've said. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I don't like this. When you're trying to put up on body language, people, I said, where did you give birth to like this? Strong as a thing. I was inclined to I was not any approach with you wouldn't
not to show gratitude to the ones who appreciate us, who assist us in all that we do. I therefore thank God Almighty for a fair weather today to organize this memorable occasion. To the chairperson, we say we are indeed grateful for gracing this occasion. Her presence here today, we say thank you. And also our profound gratitude goes to our dignitaries who have come to make us know their life story and to also know that life is not always the way we want it, but we should set ourselves an aim and hope to achieve them. Also, we thank the teachers who came here to accompany our students. We thank you all for the time you've wasted so far at this place. I really appreciate the comportment and cooperation of all the students present here today. It is my prayer that the good Lord takes us back safely to our destinations. Thank you all.
Kokezia Ama Aja. I'm from Badibunsu. 3 home economists. And today's programs, what I've learned from is we should be very confident in us, in whatever we are doing. We should be very comfortable that nobody can treat us to any bad behavior of our friends. And we should be we should be careful of the friends that we have been taking around with their influence and the peer influence that they have been putting on us. We should be very careful upon some of the things that our parents have been telling us and some of the medicals they have been telling us to take. And what I have to tell people outside is they should be very they should be very good in whatever they are doing. Nobody should tell them that this is not good, then this. Whatever they plan to do, they should set a goals. They should make assurance that there is no situation that is permanent for anybody. We should be all good in whatever we are doing. That's what I have to tell those. The message I have from my face, God should bless them, give them the courage and continue to be doing their will that they are doing for us.
I'm Vida Dogbe from Shama Senior High School, and today I've learned a lot about the men's group. In fact, they've inspired us a lot. Not all people get a chance to talk to us like the way they did. And one thing I've learned most is that things that we pass through, the experiences that we have, it's like a lesson for us. We should use it as a lesson. From what we've heard so far, lots of them went through a lot of things, sexual abuse and a lot, but still they didn't hold on that because of those challenges they can't make it. They went on, they learned hard, and they were able to achieve their dreams. And what I have for them is that actually God should bless them very much, and they should go on to inspire us more of their stories, and God bless them and their family. And that's all I have for them. Thank you.